Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out Nerd Caliber. This is Manny, and I'm here with.
Hi, I am Chantel, also known as Chantel Antoinette.
And what cosplay are we going to talk about today?
We are going to talk about this bad boy right here, my pyramid head.
So I want to ask you this because Silent Hill is one of those games there hasn't been a new game of Silent Hill for quite some time.
Yes.
A lot of uh, anyone that's familiar with Konami and what's going on with, there's a lot of drama right now about it. Um, but still, Silent Hill is still very popular. I still see nurse cosplays. I
Yep.
still see the pyramid, obviously. What is it about Silent Hill that seems to still uh, be just as popular when it first came out?
I think it was so like iconic in the horror genre. It really was like the first time playing it, you really got that immediate sense of dread. The storylines are phenomenal. And the characters are really iconic and immediately recognizable. The bubble-headed nurses, you can spot them, and then the pyramid is such an iconic and kind of powerful silhouette. And it stayed very, very popular still because they are these immediately recognizable characters. And then, they're still in pop culture now. Dead by Daylight, awesome game, did a whole Silent Hill DLC with Pyramid Head and Cheryl, and just I think it's just they've stood this test of time. Konami does phenomenal games, and again, it just was iconic. It really did kind of stand alone in the genre for a while.
Hmm. What made you decide to pick Pyramid Head as your cosplay?
It's like I was saying, it's such an iconic and immediately recognizable silhouette. And there was something really cool about taking this very large character and trying to scale it down to fit me. But again, it's just the iconography of it. I love the Silent Hill games. I'm a huge horror fan. And I think I was rewatching the movie a few years back, and I'm like, you know what? I bet I could make that. Which is the struggle of every cosplayer, is staring at a movie and going, yeah, I can do that. I can do
I know the movie wasn't well received, but it had some moments where
it.
wow.
I will always defend the movie. I thought the movie was really, really well. The first one, at least, because the director was so true to the video games, he really wanted to stand with it. And I believe the score was done by the same person who scored the games. They really wanted it to work, and I still appreciate it. I think, if nothing else, it's fun. I'm also a terrible movie critic. I love bad horror movies. I will love bad horror movies forever.
Oh, that could be a separate video. We should talk
That's our
about that
spin-off.
sometime. So, Pyramid Head, you want to cosplay this character. What's your first steps?
The first step actually was the pyramid. I have had that pyramid made for about 5 years now. Just recently, over when the world ended, I took the time. I was staring at it, I'm like, you know what, I bet I can finish this. I wanted to give myself something kind of big to do. So the main thing was blocking out that pyramid, and I had a few sketches up of how to do it, and actually Aaron helped a lot with it. He's great at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So one thing I've heard from other Pyramid Head cosplayers is that sometimes it's really hard to see through it.
Yes, it
Did,
is. It's a little difficult to see. Mine, I went with the movie style, so it is the true triangle point. The sides are actually mesh, so I can see decently. What works is mine's built on a construction helmet, so I can rotate my head in it without the pyramid turning. So sometimes if I'm in it and I'm looking at something, my head is actually turned to the side and the triangle is still out in the front.
oh wow. Okay,
Um,
okay.
I can't, like, I wouldn't go to a con and wear that all day. I will have to take it off, but it's not terrible. I can guess shapes. We are going to have a special guest, so I do apologize.
Oh. Is the helmet very hot? Is that a problem?
It's actually not. Like I said, the sides and the bottom is actually all mesh. It's really breathable. It's got like a whole neck cutout, so it's not super hot in there because it's well ventilated, and it's just actually styrofoam board, so it's
Oh,
not too
okay.
terrible.
Okay. Now, the other thing that Pyramid Head is known for is that giant sword. Um,
Yes.
what was it like constructing that?
That is also a lot of foam board. It's actually, I believe, 4 or 5 sheets of foam board sandwiched together and then carved out with a large wooden dowel in between it. So it's actually very sturdy. It is kind of true to scale based on me. I believe it is 7 or 8 feet long. So
Oh wow.
it's not super heavy, but it is one of those things where again, I can bring it to a con, but I'm taking out someone with me. I turn too fast, I'm taking out a booth, a photographer, a kid, who knows.
Is it very heavy?
It's actually not super heavy. I'd say the sword that I have is probably 25 pounds, which is not bad, considering it's, all that foam sandwiched together. So it's not an overly heavy cosplay, like the pyramid isn't too heavy. It's more so, it's just unwieldy.
Hmm.
It's as big as me.
Oh, okay. Now, well, what can you tell us about the rest of the costume?
The rest of the costume, because it's so simple, it's more like if you look at the games, depending on which you're taking from inspiration, he has almost what appears to be like a butcher's apron. I've seen some where it's like the buckled shirt, and I kind of went more of a classic spin on it. I did what looks kind of like robes. I did the corset because that's just kind of my branding. But I tried to make it like, because the pyramid and the sword, those are like the big standouts. So I didn't want to feel like the rest of the costume was all competing for a space when I knew I had two very large, very like big things to work with. So I went very simple with it. It's easy to move in. It's easy to, kind of put on and off because I'm wrestling with everything else.
Wow. If you had to assemble this all over again, what would you do differently?
I would definitely put more thought into the robe. I love the robe. I think it's really fun, but I definitely would want to kind of put more time and thought into that. I probably will before I wear it to a con. And then as for the pyramid, I almost wish I had put something sturdier on the bottom just to support it, but also my claustrophobia wouldn't deal with that well. So I think it's
Hmm. So if anyone comes up to you and says that, hey, I want to construct a cosplay just like this, what would you advise them to do?
buy a lot of rulers. um, just kind of take your time with it. It's a lot of small things that you don't really think about, depending, and pick your favorite references. It's a character that's been around for a while, so there's been a few different iterations. But have fun with it. It's super cool to have fun with stuff.
Hmm. And
Enjoy it.
and would you say this was a very expensive cosplay to put together?
The supplies were, but the pieces I actually have for like the robe, and because I cosplay and my partner cosplays, we have a lot of stuff laying around. I know for the sword we had to buy a few extra things, but the foam board isn't too bad. So I try to be a budget-friendly cosplayer.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm putting my son through college. He's going to art school.
Is there anything about the costume that I haven't asked you about that you want to share? Any details?
Not really. I have a lot of small details on the helmet I'm super proud of. Like, I love how the back of the helmet looks. I know it's never gonna get shown. But I like to put like a lot of small, little details in mine. I'm actually, for when I wear it to con, I'm going to have like a lot more smaller like homages to everything. But the whole pyramid itself, it's actually covered in screws and rivets and little things that I like hand placed and made sure they were in there because I really liked how in the movies they had that very industrial look they gave it. So I kind of did with that. The sword is hand painted, so I'm very proud of that. It's just a lot of small details on it. It was a labor of love while I had some time off.
Oh, okay, and again, I know you mentioned that it was like a 5-year process for the helmet. In altogether, total hour-wise, how much would you say that was about
The
to construct
helmet
it?
is like I said, I had that all put together. I think the helmet took like I believe few hours to put together. We had it done in like almost a full day. The sword was a labor of love. That was like almost a week-long project. Was setting all the styrofoam and then plasti dipping it, setting it, making sure everything's good, shaping it, and then painting everything. The helmet took a few days to paint and then place all the rivets. The sword was a whole project in of itself, and then the costume, all of the like fabric elements, I hand painted the corset and such. I would say altogether this probably was everything assembled. I would probably need like a full month gun to my head to recreate this entire thing. If there's money, 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Okay. So a fun question. Not that none of these were fun questions, but where would you like to see the Silent Hill franchise go now?
Just give us another game. Just remaster them like they're doing with Resident Evil. I think that would be smart. You know, the Resident Evil remakes have been phenomenal. Just give us a remaster of the original. I'll take it. But I'm happy with anything they give me. I'll take my scraps and I'll go.
You hear that, Konami? Get to work. Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about your cosplay. For anyone who wants to see more of your work, where can they go?
I am on Instagram at Chantel Antoinette, and I'm on Twitter at Beheaded Chantel. Do I post much? No, but am I interesting? Yes. And thank you for letting my son crash the meeting. I do apologize.
No problem. Well, everyone out that's watching this, thank you for watching. Stay safe out there, get your shots, and have a great day.